Hello again, Julian here from ECommerce.com. You're on my list. You've had the first four videos. I think we've been talking about, I guess, my story and how things have been going and what I've been doing, and the importance of planning and research and developing that blueprint. And the blueprint is so important because it gives you a very clear, concise path of what you've got to do. And I'm looking forward to telling you this story about the technical stuff, because I always shied away from it. I hated it. And it really cost me because I didn't take responsibility for it. And you need to know a little about a lot of things and specialize in areas that you have a real interest in. And I went to an SEO conference about 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now. And it just did my head in. And I'd spent like 120 grand on SEO that year, and it wasn't going very well. And I was at this conference, and it was just doing my head in. It was so geeky, I couldn't get over it. And I just hated it. And from that day forth, I just wanted to give it to someone else to do. And I actually spent 120,000 after this event. It wasn't before the event; it was after the event. And so what happened was, because I didn't want to do it, I just fobbed it off to someone I thought would be cheap. And anyway, they started saying, "Oh, we need this tool, this software, this program, this person to help, and go to this conference and set up PBNs and all this sort of stuff." I mean, we spent 20,000 on PBNs, and they were useless. It didn't do anything, but our sales didn't increase from it, and it was because it was all set up wrong. And long story. Anyway, very expensive, painful experience. 120 grand down the shitter, basically. And I just was so burnt from it. But I knew that it was really important. And certainly after I sort of did more things off Amazon, I realised how important it was. And the more research I did, the more I realised that Google wants quality engagement, and they want you to deliver to the person or your visitors to your site and give them what they're looking for. So you don't want to do black hat stuff. I never did any black hat. Well, that's not true. I did some testing of black hat on Amazon, and it was more expensive than not doing it. And you risk your termination of your account, and it's I didn't like it. It's just not me. I don't like the integrity of it, or the lack of integrity of it. So what we're talking about here is the technical aspect of your business and your architecture of your site, how it's set up and the theme around it and what it's providing for your marketplace. There's a lot going on in this space, and when you mix it with the information architecture, so you've got the technical side of the structure of the URLs and the categories and all that sort of stuff, and tags and on-page, off-page SEO sort of thing. And then you've got the information architecture, which is the engagement that you have with the particular audience that you're trying to target. And you've got to blend them together so that you get the conversion. And you get the traffic and you get the conversion. And Google loves you and the search engines love you. But not only that, the consumer that comes to your store loves you because it's easy to navigate, it's easy to get around, and it actually delivers on what you are saying. So this was one of the Pandora's boxes, because the more I started to dig, the more I was just like, well, who knows this stuff? I was amazed at how people just talked complete crap and charged you or wasted your time and pretended to know what they were talking about, and they just didn't. And so I had to go and learn it. I've spent $25,000 learning on top of the 120 I blew a few years ago, right? So if you're a newbie, that's probably going to frighten the hell out of you, and it should. You've got to do this the right way. Definitely, there are wrong things that you can do, and people who will just totally mislead you into spending a lot of money and wasting time. Now, I've got to say the 25 grand that I've spent is well spent. But what I learned through that process over the last 12 months is that even though the information is good, it can be organised in a way that is really confusing and really hard to get your head around, and that's why it took me 12 months, because I had to reorganize all the information and I had to apply it to e-commerce. Because what I found out incredibly is that very, very few people are doing what I've learned to do. I can't believe it. I mean, it really is a bit of a shock. And so, you know, I'm actually really into it now. I can't believe that I'm into it as much as I am, because it's definitely on the same page, because you want to provide value for people and you want to do something that's a little bit different. I've always been a bit contrarian in how I approach things, and this goes back to my trading days and when I was full-time trading options and index trading. You know, I was trading the FTSE, the DAX, the American markets and the Australian markets, and doing put options and selling and taking. It just like, it was nuts what I was doing back then. And I was buying real estate and renovating. But what I used to do was think, well, if everyone's doing that, we should do something differently. And I just naturally did that, and that's how I made the money. That's how I've done the best in my life. It's just by taking a different tack. And it's the same with e-com, and especially with Amazon. You know, we started selling products that were more expensive and didn't have to try to rank so easily, and they sold on page 2 and 3. And I got that formula down pat pretty well, and still do that. And you know, it's just specialising in a particular area. You can make money so many ways on Amazon and Shopify. There's so many ways you can do it. What we're talking about here is building a bigger brand and self-funding the private labelling and your own brand. Building a brand ultimately is the aim of this, is to set up a system where you're building the foundations, the traffic's coming in, you're testing, optimizing, increasing the conversions, increasing profitability by diversifying into different product lines and tangent markets, you know, markets that are related to your main theme. And then the successful ones, you can then go and private label or manufacture yourself and improve on them, make more money from it, and build your brand. Because obviously, if you build your own brand inside of all this, and it takes over eventually, that's worth, you know, a lot of money. And we'll get to that in one. I think we're going to do probably 2 or 3 more videos, and the last one is all about the exit plan and what's the end game here, because that's the exciting bit, really. That's what we're doing here. So we're talking about the web architecture, and it's something that really confuses a lot of people, and it can really do your head in and overwhelm you. And you know, to go out and learn this yourself, it's a full time. It's taken me near on 12 months to get my head around this and work out who knows what we're talking about and who doesn't. And it's amazing how few people do. So you've got to be a certain type of person to go into this and have the time and the money and the backbone to stick with it, because it's full on. So anyway, I've worked all that bit out, and thankfully, and we're only going to get better and better and better at the SEO organic foundations of this business, and how we implement it and improve on it. And it's super important. So this architecture I'm talking about is it's like a hybrid of siloing, and siloing is just theming your site. So, you know, if you're in pets and dogs, you're talking about dogs and everything related to dog health and dog food and dog beds and dog coats and costumes and supplements and whatever, right? So you've got a main theme around pets and dogs and how you look after them, and then you might do cats, and then you might do reptiles, bunnies, whatever, right? And you know, the other side to this is the information architecture, which is how you're going to engage with a particular type of client, and how do you know that client or customer is ideal for you and your company and your products. And you have to do that with each of your main products, right? So like I was telling you in the blueprint and the previous videos, it's like you want to find where the soft spots are in the market and go and dominate them. So where can you make the money first and dominate it for a long period of time? We don't want to flash in the pan. I mean, you know, anyone can put up like 100 products on Shopify. 1 or 2 of them is going to hit probably, and there's a good chance if you know how to follow that system and just keep going till you get one that pops. But how long is it going to pop for? 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years? it's just on shaky ground. If it's just the hot product, Shopify, Amazon traffic, it can be taken away from you so quickly, and that's what I want to avoid. I want something solid and sustainable for the long term. So hopefully that makes sense. So we've done planning, research, done the blueprint, and we're now doing the build from the organic side, and we're setting up the store. We're setting up the product pages in a certain way so they're going to rank better, they're going to convert better, and we're also going to help boost it by blogging. And there's a certain structure that we put together so that it is protected, that the security is strong, and believe it or not, we don't use Shopify. There's a reason why I don't use Shopify. Number one, I don't want them seeing my sales data. They're in bed with Amazon. I don't want Amazon knowing jack shit about what I'm doing. And I certainly don't want all the internet marketers reverse engineering my store and trying to work out what's selling and what's not, and then coming in and trying to steal my traffic and mess with me. And you want to just be a little bit careful about all that kind of thing. It's amazing what people will do to try and trip you up. Really mean, nasty bullshit. So, and you're never going to probably totally, eradicate that. You can't. But what you can do is know how to prevent it as much as possible, and then when you can track and measure and see when someone's trying to hack your system, like brute force or whatever it might be, or negative SEO your site. There are things you can do to repair it, and things you can do to prevent it. This has been a massive learning curve for me about network, not network security, but the security that you put in place within your website. I want control. I want to limit my risk, and I want to do something that's fun. So, in order to make this fun, you got to know how to stop people hacking your system and causing you all kinds of grief. I had tons and tons of grief up until a year ago when I started to learn about the security side of WordPress and what was going on with Shopify and other options. And, in order to get more control, WordPress and WooCommerce are absolutely the choice for me for the long term. Shopify is great short term. It's great for just doing a single channel, but it does get expensive, and everything's got pros and cons, right? But for our purposes, for building a brand and that kind of thing, absolutely go with WordPress first and then upgrade to something like Magento afterwards, so you've got even greater control. That's a whole other ballgame when we start talking about that. Okay, so that was a bit of a brief. If you've got any questions about this, send me the questions. Put a comment below if there's a comment box. I'm not sure if we're going to put that one down there, but I think this is an exclusive list-only sequence of videos. I'll be doing another bunch for promo in 3-4 weeks. So, if you've got questions, ask me. Book in for an appointment. Come and talk to me. If you want to be a part of this pilot program, you want to know more about it, just come and have a chat. It's not a major pitch. There's a certain type of people that I want in this group. We're family. You'll be treated like family, and we will all work together to make sure that we're going to crank over 30,000 a month. That is the goal. All right. I can absolutely promise you that you will have an asset worth anywhere from 20,000 to 50,000 by the time we're done. Easy, right? From day one, it'll be worth about 20k without any shadow of a doubt. All the components are going to be put into this. So what I'm saying here is, I don't want it to be like hyped up saying that, your infrastructure and your business is going to be worth, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, from day one when you launch or the end of the 12 months or whatever. Just think realistically about this. If you think, I'm going to show you, just from the design aspect is like 40 hours of work. So if you can think of that, like a good designer is like $250 an hour. Like a crap one's like $15-20 an hour, right? So just to do the basics, this is not including formatting and SEO optimization and uploading and managing, and this is just the straight out design. No developers or anything. I'm just checking my microphone. So it's a minimum of that. So, you know, you can burn money like no tomorrow to do this right, even to do it wrong. And God knows I've done plenty of stuff that's wrong. So, you know, we should be able to limit major catastrophes for people that come in, even to the coaching, let alone the pilot program. Pilot program, I am there, and all my resources and people I know are there to help out and call on when we need to. So there's so much value in that, and you will absolutely get the bare bones done properly, and then we can wrap it up with all the good stuff as well. So, and you got to remember that this is what I've learned to do for me, and to evolve into building e-commerce businesses quickly. And we've come a long way in the last 12 months. It's getting faster and faster and faster and more advanced and more clinical. And we're just going to get better. So I think it's a great time to get involved with it. It's a great time to talk to me, because I've got the time over the next few weeks to talk to you. It's going to get harder and harder. I won't be able to give free time at all come 4 or 5 weeks from now. So please take the opportunity. If there's any curiosity about this, talk to me about it. And let's maintain the friendship and the relationship. And if you're on the same path and want the same thing as what I want, let's do it together if we can. So we talked about planning and research. We talked about blueprints. We talked about the architecture, the technical side, and the information side. The one thing I haven't mentioned about that is that the reason we're doing that part with the technical and the information architecture is to make it evergreen and future-proof from algorithm changes. So we want this to be long-term and sustainable. We want it to be of huge value so that an investor will come in and buy this, and we're going to talk about that in a tick. The next video is going to be about how we launch and the scaling side of it. And you know, there's a lot of myths about that as well. Everyone wants to make tons of money like tomorrow, yesterday. They're desperate. It's all about the me focus and not them focus. Like, you've got to focus on the customer and what they want and what they need. And you know, less of the me and the hot product stuff, and more about them and their problem. I can't emphasize that enough. It's one of the main things I've learned over the last 15 years of being online, and most of us don't do a good job of it. So we need to really focus a lot on that, and how we track and measure and split test and all those sorts of things. All that and copywriting, that's pretty much the main thing. It's the engagement with the customer, and fencing in your herd, your tribe, whatever you want to call them, and turning them into raving fans. It's not easy to do for a lot of people, and we've just got to put that system in place so that you do that, get the conversions, increase your profitability, and keep on building a more valuable asset. So next video, we're going to talk about launching and scaling. Just really brief overview of what needs to be done. There's a lot to be done. Okay, look forward to seeing you in that, and yeah, talk to you soon.